Good evening, everyone. It is Thursday, 6:30 p.m. and the last Thursday of January, so we're going to get ready to do our Facebook Live and give you all some quick updates regarding car accidents, personal injury, and of course, immigration. We also have a brand new topic that we've not shared with you before that I look forward to answering questions for you. Please excuse the sirens and the church bells. We are in downtown, but I hope you guys can hear me just fine. So today's updates, we do have one quick and important update from our personal injury world, car accidents, slip and falls. This is relating to car accidents. The Florida Senate is currently working on making sure that a new bill will pass, and it is going to be based on bodily injury. In the past, we have discussed how the state of Florida does not require bodily injury coverage, meaning if you're hit by somebody in a car accident that doesn't have bodily injury insurance, then you're basically out of luck. This is why we tell all of our clients to contact their car insurance provider to get UM. UM stands for uninsured motorist insurance. However, if this bill does become law in Florida, everyone would be required to carry at least $25,000 in bodily injury, which makes sense. It's common sense. If we're on the road, we should have insurance to cover somebody's injuries. We do have a little fact sheet of what to do if you've been in an accident, and you can keep that in your car for your car insurance. If you would like me to mail one to you, please just email me or Jessica in the comments, and we're happy to share that information for you. A lot of people don't know what to do if they've been in an accident. So please share that, and we will definitely send it out to you. Next week, we have a very special guest, attorney Rajan Joshi, who is an outstanding criminal defense attorney. He has been one of the top criminal defense lawyers in Orlando, Florida for the last 15, 20 years. I don't want to make him sound old, but you'll get to meet him next week. And we're going to talk about knowing your rights as it comes to criminal defense, what to do if you're pulled over, if police ask to search your car or your home, what rights do you actually have when it comes to criminal law and police investigation. So next week at 6:30, attorney Rajan Joshi from the Joshi Law Firm will be with me, and we will cover these topics. It's really important. I always say knowledge is power, and I want my community and our followers to be aware about what their rights are. So we're going to bring on a criminal defense attorney, and hopefully he can share and drop some knowledge with us about what we can and can't do, or what we can expect. God forbid any one of us is facing an investigation or charges. So tune in next week for that. And of course, before I forget, I don't want to forget our good news for today. We had a case approved. I've already shared the post on Facebook. Basically, we filed what's called a writ of mandamus in federal court against the immigration agencies for their extreme and unreasonable delays. So a lot of times my clients will look at me crazy when I say, let's sue the government because your case is so delayed. But we were able to resolve this client's issues within 60 days of filing the lawsuit. She filed her green card application on her own, and she went to an interview, and 2 years later, she was still waiting. Within 60 days of my firm filing the lawsuit, she received another interview and received an approval notice. It's not fair that somebody has to go through these avenues to sue the government, but at least, God bless the USA, we have the opportunity to hold these agencies accountable for when they're not doing their job. So if you have an extreme delayed case with USCIS, that is an option for you. We did receive some questions from individuals about what about their case being delayed in the immigration court. That's slightly different. It's not as clear cut because there's not standards or practices as far as how long a case should take. So basically, we would have to look at that as a case-by-case basis to determine if a writ of mandamus is something that we can do for you. We've even done it when somebody's case is stuck in administrative processing in Morocco, for example, and we sue the Department of State and say, hey, you're not processing this application. And sure enough, lo and behold, once we file that federal lawsuit, the visa becomes available. As always, we have had so many updates with the new president and the new administration. So if you want to subscribe to our newsletter or follow us on social media, you can do that. And please share it with anybody who you believe would benefit from the proposed new immigration law changes. Now, I say new and proposed because nothing new has officially passed as of yet. President Biden has made a proposal and a bill that's been sent to Congress, and we're waiting to see what's going to happen with that. So what we are doing in our firm is we are doing consultations from now to get people ahead of the game, and then we're going to keep a list of anybody who may qualify should this law pass. So if you think that this is something you may qualify if it becomes law, schedule a consultation with us, and we will keep you on file in case things are going to change down the road, and you can contact us. You know, a lot of our clients, they work service industry, they work in offices, they work construction, and they can't make it to our offices Monday through Friday. I mean, no problem. Every last Saturday of the month, we do Saturday consultations. So for example, this Saturday, we have several scheduled. So you do have to reserve the spot, prepay for it because it is a Saturday, but that is an option for anybody who can't make it to our office Monday through Friday. And that's something I'm happy to offer to you all. And let us know if that's something that you're interested in. Okay, so I am mentioning several of President Biden's, proposed changes, what's changed, what's not. So I wanted to do a follow-up Facebook Live today to kind of discuss and just, kind of diffuse any myths that are out there. So first and foremost, nothing has officially passed. There is no amnesty. There is no changes in the law as of yet. But we did have a day of action yesterday where we expect people to contact their, Congress representative, their senators, to ask them to go ahead and support President Biden's Citizenship Act of 2021. This would be beneficial to millions of people who are law-abiding citizens and otherwise don't have major criminal history. So this would have a huge impact for so many people who've been in limbo. Let's not forget our DACA dreamers and TPS holders who have been in the US, many people for decades, unable to get permanent status due to the way the current law is written. So support the US Citizenship Act of 2021. Contact your representatives. And if you think you may qualify for this, contact us for a consultation. And this way we know how to contact you as soon, if and when this does actually become law and you're available. Deferred action for childhood arrivals, DACA, the dreamer, since we're on the subject. As you know, the Supreme Court a few months ago held that DACA should still be returned to its original state. So right now they are accepting first-time filing, advanced parole travel documents are back, and the 2-year work permits. So if you received only a 1-year work permit, last year as the Trump administration was changing the policies, you should receive an automatic extension in the mail of the work permit, allowing you to have one for at least 2 years. If you've never applied, now is definitely the time to do so. They have been processing these applications very quickly. President Biden did sign an executive order where he was going to halt deportations for 100 days in order to allow the ICE and ERO enforcement removal operations to reevaluate their standards of practice. This has already been challenged in the Texas court, It's being litigated whether or not he has the ability to pause enforcement or deportations for 100 days. But this may be beneficial to those who are detained, those who are supposed to leave. This may be something that's going to be a 11th hour savior for many of these cases. The travel ban. The travel ban is officially gone. This is the Muslim travel ban that has been kind of one of the first actions that the Trump administration took. Syria, Iran, Libya, Venezuela, these countries were on this ban, not allowing for family members or visa holders to come to the US. President Biden has signed an executive order repealing this ban, and that these visas should now be issued. Of course, everybody needs to be patient. We are still in a worldwide pandemic, and most of these consulates and embassies are closed. So even though the ban is gone, you may be waiting for some time to see whether or not this is something that's going to be processed for you. We do have some comments here. Hey, Anthony Andres. And then Miss Nasreen, how are you, Miss Nasreen? Long time. Thanks for joining us today. Hope you guys are doing great. Another thing is there is an extension on the deferred enforcement of departure for Liberian nationals. This has been extended. And there is also the DED for Venezuelans that we are still waiting to hear back on. There's also a lot of rumors and myths that perhaps Venezuelan TPS will actually happen. So, of course, we will update you all as soon as that does, the very day it happens, and we will make sure to share it with you guys. So make sure you know to decipher what information is factual, what information is not, and make sure that you speak to a competent, reputable attorney and no paralegals outside their office, notarios, one of these places that don't have any accountability should they mess up your file and your life, essentially, with their unauthorized practice of law. So that's a quick recap on the updates with immigration. Also for DACA, there was last month or so, you are now eligible for FHA loans. So first-time home buyers. We did a news interview with Fox 35 earlier in the week about this topic, and I think it makes sense for our hardworking DACA recipients who pay taxes and follow the laws to qualify for that great program of the American dream of owning your first home. So we did talk about also that important bill for car accidents. Just a quick tip, make sure you have uninsured motorist insurance. Make sure you seek treatment within 14 days of an accident. And, if you hear about this bill that's being in the Florida Senate, you want to support this bill that's going to require every driver to have bodily injury insurance. All right. As promised, I'm going to share a new visa with you all today. I mean, it's not new, but it's a new topic for us. And this is a non-immigrant O1 employment. So the O1 visa. This visa is for those individuals with extraordinary ability. And this can be in sciences, in business, athletics, even television, or the motion picture area. But for O1A, these are people with extraordinary ability in science, education, or athletics. And basically, how do we prove that? You have to prove that you've arrived to the top of your field, that you are the best in your industry, and you've been recognized for that. And you are coming to the US to work temporarily in this capacity and demonstrate your extraordinary ability. So we talked about what's called the EB2 NIW a few weeks ago, or maybe the last Facebook Live with attorney Natalie Ma'alem, and she explained what is extraordinary ability and what does it require in order to qualify for the national interest waiver, meaning you won't have a job offer. With the O1A, you typically have a requirement of having an employment sponsor And if you don't have a sponsor, then you need some type of agent at least who is going to be getting you different types of bookings throughout your O1 visa process. So O1A, just to recap, is for science, education, business, and athletics. O1B is going to be those in motion picture or television. So people with O1 are the individuals with extraordinary ability. So there's also other visas available for the O, which is the O2 and the O3. The O2 is not what you think, because a lot of times, if you're here, for example, on an F1 international student visa or on an L1 visa, then your spouse would be, or your children would be, an L2 or an F2. However, with the O visa category, an O2 is somebody who is here to support the athlete or the artist for specific performances. So this is not a family member, but somebody who is support or assisting in that person's ability to demonstrate their work. An O3 is the spouse or the children. And unfortunately, for an O3 as a spouse, they do not have the ability to work in the United States. So if you're coming with your spouse, know that you can come, you can stay, you could even study, but you're not eligible to work in the United States. So that's really quickly on the O2 and O3. And then we do have some questions that we received on this visa, and I want to go ahead and answer those. So one individual asked us, can the spouse work on the O3 visa or O1? Of course, I just answered that one, and the spouse unfortunately cannot work. The next question is, does an O1 visa lead to a green card? So typically we would say no, or it depends, not on its own. As designed, after 3 years on an O1, there is no automatic green card. There is no way to simply apply for it. But if you meet many of the O1 requirements, it's very likely that you could meet the requirements for the EB2 NIW. So it's important to know that the O1 is a non-immigrant visa. EB1 is an immigrant visa. So these are two different categories. In immigration, we have two types of visas, non-immigrant and immigrant. And so these have similar requirements, but not exactly the same. But a lot of times, if you qualify for the O, you may qualify for the EB2 NIW. So if you do in that way, you would then be eligible for a green card, but the O itself will not automatically give it to you. Another question is, how long can somebody remain on an O1? Typically, it's in 3-year increments. So they won't grant it in one time for more than that 3 years. So I would say 3 years to that question. Premium processing. Premium processing in some types of employment-based visas or investor visas, there's a premium processing where you pay the government an extra $2,500 and they will give you a response within 15 calendar business days. Many times in the Trump administration, this went away. It's now back, and with the O1 is one of those processes that you can do a premium processing with. Otherwise, sometimes it can go anywhere from 6 to 8 months to get a decision. So sometimes that money is very well spent, especially if you're here and doing a change of status application. Let me see here. Another question is, sometimes people ask, is there an annual cap on the O1? So no, short answer is no. And I just want to explain what the annual cap is for those who don't know. The annual cap, a lot of times we see it in family-based immigrant petitions or employment-based immigrant petitions. And that's why we have different charts and categories and telling us how long the wait time is. And typically the wait time is average based on the delay of visa availability. And there's a cap for each type of visa each year. And if there's too many visas, then of course they have to go back and wait in line and check the visa bulletin constantly. The O1, as mentioned earlier, is non-immigrant. So there is no visa cap for that. So also, I want to go back to the question of do you need a sponsor to be an O1? I said yes, or you need to be involved in an entertainment agency or some type of agency that represents you to help get you gigs. But there a little loophole could be if you own the company that can also sponsor you. But the company must be bona fide. You must demonstrate it has the ability to pay. It must demonstrate that it's in your field. So these are things to keep in mind. We get a lot of questions and interest like, oh, if I just create a company, can I sponsor myself for a green card? No. I mean, if it was that simple, everybody would do it. Unfortunately, it's not. But this is to help protect jobs in the U.S. and prevent any fraudulent filings for people who are not truly interested in investing or employing somebody to help support their company. I don't have any other topics for you today. I do want to thank you for joining us. This has been a great tradition we're doing every Thursday. And next week, we will have attorney Rajan Joshi to speak about criminal defense, your legal options in criminal investigations or search and seizure. So if you have any questions about that specific topic, feel free to send them to us. And we will also, with the coming tax season, many of you have questions about how to file your taxes when you're married. What if my spouse doesn't have a social security number? We're going to have a CPA on our show as well. So this will hopefully be timely and helpful information to you all. Again, thanks for joining me. I'm Naif Mubarak with Mubarak Law. We'll see you here next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Please don't forget to like and follow our pages and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful night.